let's get seated and get started here. Okay, for those of you who have been here all evening, I once again say, in Pennsylvania, we have a closed primary. This means voters can only vote for candidates in their party or unless the candidate has cross-filed. On the ballot for both Republican, if they've cross-filed, they will be on the ballot of both Republican and Democratic voters. We are now going to hear from candidates for School Director of the Lewisburg Area School District and the candidates for Milton Area School District Region 3. There are 6 candidates running for 5 openings on the May 21st ballot for the Lewisburg area. 3 are present this evening. Corey Heath, who has cross-filed, Aaron Jablonski, who has cross-filed, Virginia Zimmerman, who has cross-filed. Jordan Fetzer, cross-filed, Mary Guida is a Republican, Tara Unsicker-Facero, cross-filed, and those 3 people are unable to attend tonight. In the Milton School District, Region 3, there are 3 candidates for 2 positions. 2 candidates are here this evening. Tracy Bruno, who cross-filed, Andrew Frederick, cross-filed. Eric Moser cross-filed and is unavailable due to a school board work session. The Lewisburg candidates are the 3 candidates to my immediate right. The Milton candidates are the 2 candidates at the end of the table. Again, a reminder, there are people who will get you an index card if you want to ask a question. You may indicate that the question is for the Milton candidates or the Lewisburg candidates by writing that on your card. The format for this forum is as follows. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement. The opening statements will be followed by questions from the league and then the audience. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer questions in turn. Each candidate will then have up to 30 seconds for rebuttal. A candidate may choose to pass on the rebuttal. The rebuttal will be answered in the same order the question was asked. The candidate answering first will rotate with each question. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. The candidates will give their opening statement in alphabetical order by school district and then answer the questions, provide rebuttals, and give their closing statements in a rotating order. Again, the timer will hold up the sign when you have 30 seconds to finish. And when the red card is held up, please finish your sentence and stop. We will begin with opening statements of 2 minutes each, starting with Mr. Heath.
Good evening. My name is Corey Heath. I'm currently serving on the Lewisburg School Board in my 4th year. I was appointed to 2 terms prior to this election that I'm currently running for. I recently retired a little over a year ago from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. The reason I was appointed to 2 terms is because when you work for the Federal Bureau of Prisons, you're not allowed to run for an election because of something called the Hatch Act, which is a whole different lesson that you can get with one of the lawyers about. In my 4 years, I've learned a lot. I've worked in the prison systems for over 27 years. So I bring the perspective of the law enforcement and that sort of community to the board. I was in management for a number of the years. I spent the last 17 years of my career right here in Union County, up at Allenwood, in the penitentiary. So I converse with my peers on the board about matters that relate to a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of school safety concerns that get raised nowadays that I find I have a little bit of insight to. Schools are not prisons, but they are confined and they house adolescents. So there are, believe it or not, are an awful lot of overlap and similarities between the 2 environments. And believe it or not, the principles that are used to prevent violence are actually kind of the same, just maybe not to the same level. That's all I have for you.
Hi, I'm Erin Jablonski. I'm resident of Lintown, where I live with my husband and 2 kids who are 9 and 7, so I'm very invested in the school-age population. This is also my 4th year on the school board, and I've been a couple of years as treasurer, and I'm also on the policy committee where we get to set a lot of the policies that come through the district. I've been an educator for 15 years. I've also been
Could you put your microphone a little closer? Yeah.
I've also been very involved in pre-K to 12 outreach and programs for teachers and students that entire time. I'm also co-founder of Lewisburg Children's Museum. Some of you may be familiar. I guess based on my history, I care deeply about public education. I do believe in the ideal that it's the ultimate level playing field, or at least it should be, right? We have this ideal, this free and appropriate public education. Every child should come to a school and feel welcome and feel that they can get all the supports that they need to learn and be successful. We have a significantly changing demographic in our area, and we constantly, as multiple people have now mentioned, have changes coming from the state without the financial support from the state to enact all of the things that we are asked to do. So we have to be very careful with our budget so that we can be responsible to the taxpayers. So we do the best we can with the resources that we have, and I enjoy spreadsheets almost as much as I enjoy educating children.
I'm Virginia Zimmerman. I'm in my 2nd year on the Lewisburg Area School Board. I ran for a school board in 2017 because I believe that public education is the cornerstone of democracy, and I was honored to be elected to serve our children in our community. What I've learned from serving as a school director is that it involves everything from the monumental to the mundane. However, I've tried to remain mindful of 3 issues that are of highest importance to me. The first is the safety and well-being of our students, as Corey mentioned, and that is a concern I'm pleased to say that all of us on the board take very seriously. In particular, I believe in finding ways to bolster the social emotional learning of our children. And I'm pleased to say that our last meeting, we voted to create 1.5 new positions, a special education teacher and a half-time school psychologist, which is a good step forward in ensuring the mental health and well-being of our kids. The second issue is maintaining a robust arts program. We were privileged to have an extraordinary arts program here in Lewisburg, and abundant research shows how incredibly important the arts are in developing essential skills like critical thinking, memory, and empathy. I've also observed impressive leadership and teamwork, and of course creativity in our student musicians, actors, and artists of all kinds. The third issue is the fundamental importance of reading. Lewisburg students perform very well on state reading assessments, but throughout the nation, the emphasis on reading in K-12 education has been eroding, and unfortunately, this is no different here in Lewisburg. I feel strongly that students should be reading interesting and challenging texts in every subject area. There should certainly be language arts courses where reading and writing are the focus, but students in environmental science and physics and American history and algebra should also be reading. All of the reading they do teaches them to be better readers, writers, and thinkers. I'd love to see public education do more to embrace this fundamental skill. Thanks for coming here tonight.
We will now go to the Milton school candidates, and we will start with Ms. Bruno. By the way, Ms. Bruno did make us aware that she has some physical issues there with her back, and she may stand up. She's not leaving. She's just going to stand up. Okay.
Hola and todos, and welcome, community. Our community is growing in diversity and change, and that is why I'm here. My name is Tracy Bruno, and I am representing White Deer Township, East Chillisquaque, and Turbot Township. My husband and I have lived in Milton for over 40 years, and we've raised 2 children here. Jean has taught and coached and has recently retired after 34 years of service to the Milton